Huawei 8X9P models, both at home and abroad, are hot-selling models with high attention. So, the aftermarket situation of these two screen models is also closely related to everyone's maintenance benefit. In this market analysis video, we are going to learn about the aftermarket of these two screen models. Firstly, we need to know the quality types of 8X9P screens on the market. Nowadays, the screen qualities circulating on the market are Original Screen and Incell Screen. Let's look at the Original Screen on the market first. Huawei has placed 8X9P screen orders to some LCD panel manufacturers at the same time, including Innolux, Tianma, BOE, TCL. The Original Screen is 6.5 inches with notch screen, using the Full HD, LTPS, Incell Screen. Its IC scheme is COV, and it has its own underlying code. The original screens of 8X9P are without transcoding chip. So what are the original screens circulating on the market currently? Original Screen, Original Refurbished Screen, OEM Screen. First, look at the Original Screen. The brand new Original Screen on the market usually outflows through the gray channel. These kind of screens are very few, because no one dares to touch this gray business. The risk of taking illegal channels is very large. There is a small quantity of original screens are the after-sale screens outflow from the official channel. This kind of screens are very expensive. Then look at the Original Refurbished Screen, which is just the refurbished screen after broken cover plates. It has a larger quantity and a cheaper price. How should I explain it? Huawei 8X9P screen models all sales great at home and abroad. Therefore, the base of recycling broken cover plate screens is very large. As for many countries, there is no screen refurbish industry chain. So, the broken cover plate screens are recycled to China as e-waste, with a low recycling price. For the maintenance store in China, due to the refurbished value of 8X9P screen is relatively low, there is little willingness of the maintenance store workers to spend time and take risks to refurbish. Besides, these two screen models has a very large market volume. Maintenance store can't refurbish that much screens by itself. So, the broken cover plate screens in China, there is a large quantity, are included in the refurbished product chain. In general, the recycling base of Huawei 8X9P original screen is large, and the recycling price is low. There is a certain profit after refurbishing. So, many people in China are doing the aspect of original refurbished screen. It is worth mentioning that the price of the original refurbished screen is not high, comparing to the screen price of changing schemes. Almost no price difference. But the original refurbished screens of 8X9P have a high malfunctioning rate. After refurbished, there is a larger rate of occurring malfunctions such as display defect and functional stability problems and etc. Because the level A and level B original refurbished screen are shipped together. If you want to pick the pure level A, the quantity is smaller, and the price is higher. Finally, look at the OEM screen. There are two kinds of OEM screens on the market. One is the refurbished OEM screen, which is based on the refurbishment to change the main cable. That is called OEM screen. Another one is made of original LCD module and the screen of the third-party scheme, which is the original LCD module, using the COF scheme that developed after, called OEM screen. Some people sell it as original fog screen. Some people sell it as brand new original screen. In a word, the aftermarket original screens are mixed and various. What we have listed here is only a part of it. There are many operation means of the original screen in the industry. If you're interested, we will make targeted and detailed explanations in the future about the original screens market of Android. As for the specific judgment of the original screens, to be honest, unless you are very familiar to this model or this industry, can have some certain judgments. Most of people can't make a judgment simply from the appearance of the screens. But you don't have to worry too much, as long as your suppliers are reliable enough. The screens that you bought, as long as the quality is related to the original screens, the functionalities and qualities won't be too bad. It mainly depends on the cost performance, whether it is expensive, whether it is worthy. Next, take a look at Incell Screen, the manufacturers of producing original LCD module. There are Innolux, Sharp, Tianma and Truly Opto. The original LCD module sizes that they produced varies from 6.33 to 6.46 inches. The IC schemes of Incell Screen are COF and COG. As for the Incell Screen of Huawei 8X9P, we are going to focus on the COF and COG schemes. First, look at the COF scheme. Put the IC on the cable is called COF. So, look at the COF screen. There is a bulge. That is IC, which is attached to the cable, connecting the cable through FPC. Because the cable is flexible, IC is hard. Fix a hard IC on the cable. Connect all pins and seal them in place. There are certain requirements for the manufacturers, production equipment and process raw materials, and has a certain production technical difficulty. In the third-party after-sales factory, which invested only several millions yuan, produced COF scheme screens, its malfunction rate is certainly higher than the manufacturers of original screen, and leads to its high production cost. Then look at the COG scheme. Put the IC on the LCD module is called COG. We take the LCD module produced by Truly Opto as an sample. COG scheme screens of 8X9P. When the manufacturers are making the customized LCD module, we can require them to print the IC on the LCD module together. After manufacturers get the LCD module, just program the data into the IC, connect the cable, then attach the cover plate, open the backlight. The COG scheme has low requirements for production equipment. Its production technology is very mature. Its production yield is much higher than COF scheme. Therefore, the production cost of COG is much lower than COF. What about the screen stability of different schemes of COF and COG? The assembled screen, except for physical defects in production technique, will affect the stability of the screen. Then is the quality of software code written in later period. Whether it is COG scheme or COF scheme, it has nothing to do with the selection of the screen scheme type. Strictly speaking, the screens of COF scheme will be more expensive, and has a higher requirement in transit package and installation. Why? Because the screens that use COF scheme, the bulging part, would be easy to be damaged, while in transit package or installation. Plus the cable is flexible. Sometimes an inadvertent action can lead to the pin breakage or pseudo-soldering in the part of connecting IC and cable, which will cause problems after installation, or problems occur after a period of time after installation. However, the screens that use COG scheme won't occur this kind of problems. The IC of COG scheme, both front and back, are hard. With the protection of backlight and stickers, it is difficult to damage the IC, or the part that IC connected. Therefore, the installation complaint rate of COF scheme is higher than COG scheme. Here is a vivid metaphor. The screens that use COF scheme, just like flowers in a greenhouse, cannot suffer from setbacks. COG scheme is like a wild child raised in a pigsty, can stand a certain degree of setbacks. But there is a defective screen that uses COG scheme. Due to the IC has taken up a part of the screen, its screen window must be smaller than the screen that use COF scheme. Generally speaking, with time goes by, the sales of these two screen models must be declining year by year. In the future, customers would pay more attention to the cost performance of the screen. If the customer has requirements for screen windows, you can choose the original series screen or the COF scheme screen. If the customer pursue the cost performance, then the screen of COG scheme must be the first choice. Till now, we believe that you are having a clearly positioning of the screens of COF and COG schemes. How about the current screen market situation of 8X9P? In terms of price, compared with the last 2 months, whether it is the screens of COF or COG scheme, the current price has dropped by nearly 10%. In terms of the current screen market situation, the screen cost of COF scheme will be kept increasing due to the rise of the US dollar exchange rate. Upstream raw materials are rising in price. The screen production cost of COF scheme is also rising. Therefore, the price of screen that uses COF scheme won't be further sharp decline. How about COG scheme? It is currently at a relatively reasonable and stable price. The price will not drop too much. As for what will happen in the future, that depends on the several new coming Incell screens on the market of the second half of this year. How is the impact on the market? In a word, currently it is at a relatively reasonable price. So, how much would you spend for purchasing the Incell screens? Let me know in the comments section.